If you're a green card holder and you've been scrolling through social media in the last few hours, you've probably seen headlines screaming about a new immigration law that just passed, and you're probably wondering if your status is at risk, if your green card is still valid, or if you need to take urgent action right now. I know how unsettling this feels, especially when information is flying around without context, without clarity, and without anyone taking the time to actually explain what's really happening. So let me do that for you right now. My name is Saqib, and you're watching Global Immigration Updates, where we break down immigration news without the panic, without the politics, and without the rumors. Just facts, clear explanations, and real guidance that you can trust. So let's talk about what actually happened. There has been recent legislative activity in the United States Congress related to immigration, and some of that activity does involve green card holders. But before you assume the worst, before you start thinking your permanent residence is suddenly in jeopardy, let me walk you through what this actually means, who it actually affects, and what you actually need to do, if anything at all. First, let's clarify what we mean when we say a new immigration law has passed. In the United States, for a law to truly pass, it has to go through the House of Representatives, then the Senate, and then it has to be signed by the President. Until all three of those things happen, it's not a law. It might be a bill, it might be a proposal, it might be something that passed one chamber but not the other, but it's not a law. And that distinction matters, because right now, a lot of what people are calling a new law is actually still in the legislative process. That said, there are indeed immigration-related bills that have been introduced recently that mention green card holders, and some of these bills have moved further along in the process than others. So let's talk about what these bills actually say and what they're designed to do. One of the bills that has gained attention involves clarifying the grounds on which a green card holder, also known as a lawful permanent resident, can be considered inadmissible or deportable. Now, this is not a brand new concept. The Immigration and Nationality Act, which is the foundation of U.S. immigration law, has always listed specific grounds for inadmissibility and deportability. Things like committing certain crimes, engaging in fraud, violating the terms of your status, or posing a security threat. These grounds have existed for decades. What this bill does, in some versions, is add more detail to certain categories or adjust how certain violations are treated. But it does not suddenly make all green card holders deportable. It does not strip you of your status for no reason. And it does not apply retroactively in most cases. Another element of recent legislative discussion involves the re-entry permit and continuous residence requirements. Green card holders are expected to maintain their permanent residence in the United States. If you leave the country for an extended period of time, especially more than 6 months or a year, you risk being seen as having abandoned your permanent residence. This is not new. This has always been the rule. What some recent proposals have done is clarify how border officers assess whether someone has maintained continuous residence, or they propose stricter documentation requirements for green card holders re-entering the country after long trips abroad. Again, this is not a sweeping change. It's a clarification or tightening of existing policy. There's also been discussion around public charge rules and the use of certain public benefits by green card holders. Public charge has been a part of U.S. immigration law for a very long time. It refers to someone who is likely to become primarily dependent on the government for support. In recent years, the definition of public charge has been debated, revised, and revised again, depending on which administration is in power. Some bills propose making it easier to find someone inadmissible or deportable based on the use of public benefits. But here's the key. Most green card holders are not affected by public charge rules once they already have their green card, unless they leave the country and try to re-enter, or unless they apply for citizenship and USCIS reviews their entire immigration history. Now I know what you're thinking. Saqib, this all sounds pretty serious. Should I be worried? And here's my answer. If you are a green card holder who has maintained continuous residence in the United States, if you have not committed any crimes, if you have not lied on any immigration applications, if you have not engaged in activities that would make you a security threat, and if you have not abandoned your permanent residence by living outside the US for long periods without permission, then no, you should not be worried. The vast majority of green card holders are not affected by these legislative discussions in any immediate or dramatic way. But let's talk about who might be affected. If you are a green card holder who has committed a crime, especially one that falls under the category of an aggravated felony or a crime involving moral turpitude, then yes, these bills could affect you. The law has always allowed for deportation of green card holders who commit certain crimes, but some of these proposals expand the list of crimes or make it easier for immigration authorities to pursue removal proceedings. If that's your situation, you need to speak with an immigration attorney immediately. Do not wait. Do not assume it will go away. Get professional legal help. If you are a green card holder who has been living outside the United States for a long time, or if you frequently travel abroad and stay away for months at a time, then yes, these discussions about continuous residence and re-entry could affect you. You may be asked more questions at the border. You may need to provide more documentation proving that you still consider the US your permanent home. In some cases, if you've been outside the US for more than a year without a re-entry permit, you may be found to have abandoned your green card. This is not new, but enforcement may become stricter. If you are a green card holder who has used certain public benefits and you are planning to travel outside the US and return, or if you're planning to apply for citizenship, then yes, public charge discussions could affect you. But again, this is not automatic. It depends on the specific benefits, the duration of use, your overall financial situation, and other factors. If you're concerned, consult with an immigration attorney before you travel or before you apply for naturalization. For everyone else, the green card holders who are living in the US, working, paying taxes, staying out of trouble, and not doing anything that would raise red flags, you are not in immediate danger. Your green card is still valid. Your status has not changed overnight, and no new law has been passed that suddenly makes you deportable. But here's what I want you to understand. Immigration law in the United States is complicated, and it is always evolving. Bills get introduced all the time. Some pass, some don't. Some get amended so much that the final version looks nothing like the original proposal. And even when a law does pass, it doesn't always take effect immediately. There are implementation periods, there are court challenges, and there are administrative processes that have to happen first. So what should you do right now? First, stay informed, but stay calm. Follow official sources like USCIS.gov, Congress.gov, and the Department of Homeland Security. These are the places where you will find accurate, up-to-date information about changes to immigration law and policy. Do not rely on social media posts, do not rely on rumors from friends or family, and do not assume that every headline you see is telling the full story. Second, if you have any concerns about your specific situation, especially if you have a criminal record, if you've been outside the US for a long time, or if you've used public benefits, talk to an immigration attorney. Do not try to figure this out on your own. Immigration law is too complex and too high stakes to navigate without professional help. Third, make sure your documents are in order. Your green card should be valid and not expired. If it's about to expire, renew it. If you've changed your address, update it with USCIS within 10 days as required by law. If you travel outside the US, make sure you have all the documentation you need to re-enter, including your valid green card, your passport, and any other supporting documents that show you maintain your residence in the United States. Fourth, if you're eligible for citizenship, consider applying. US citizens have more protections than green card holders. They cannot be deported. They cannot be denied re-entry to the United States. And they have full rights and privileges under the Constitution. If you've been a green card holder for 5 years, or 3 years if you're married to a US citizen, and you meet all the other requirements, naturalization might be the right step for you. And finally, remember that immigration law does not change overnight. Even if a bill becomes law today, there will be time to understand it, time to prepare, and time to take action if necessary. The US immigration system, for all its flaws, still operates under due process. That means you have rights. You have the right to a hearing. You have the right to present evidence. You have the right to appeal. And you have the right to legal representation. So do not panic. Do not make hasty decisions. And do not let fear control your actions. I also want to address something that I see all the time in the comments and in messages. A lot of people ask, does this mean they're coming after all immigrants now? Does this mean green card holders are no longer safe? And the answer is no. Green card holders are lawful permanent residents. You have legal status, you have rights, and the vast majority of you are not at risk. What these bills are targeting, in most cases, are specific behaviors: criminal activity, fraud, abandonment of residence, national security threats. If you are not engaged in any of those things, you are not the target. But I understand why people are scared. Immigration has become a politically charged topic, and every time there's a new administration or a new Congress, people worry that everything is going to change. And yes, policies do shift. Enforcement priorities do change. But the fundamental structure of immigration law, the protections that exist for people with legal status, those things do not disappear overnight. So here's what I want you to take away from this video. Yes, there has been legislative activity related to green card holders. Yes, some bills have been introduced that could affect certain people in specific situations. But no, there has not been a sweeping new law that puts all green card holders at risk. No, your green card has not suddenly become invalid. And no, you do not need to panic. What you do need to do is stay informed, stay compliant with the law, keep your documents up to date, and seek professional help if your situation is complicated. That's it. That's the action plan. If you found this video helpful, if it gave you clarity and peace of mind, please subscribe to Global Immigration Updates and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Share this video with anyone you know who might be worried or confused about their immigration status, and leave your questions in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'll do my best to point you in the right direction. Immigration news can be overwhelming, but you don't have to navigate it alone. We're here to help you separate fact from fiction and to give you the information you need to make smart, informed decisions about your future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.